And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video game review, and today I'm reviewing Kid Icarus, an NES classic released in 1987. By 1987, it's considered one of the big three from the summer of '87, along with Zelda and Metroid. So it's kind of cool now that I own and have played all three of these now, which is cool. The Kid Icarus is definitely one. Metroid's not like the most popular Nintendo franchise. It's not the one that's gotten the most attention, but it's gotten a good amount of attention over the years. Zelda obviously is one of their flagship franchises, and it gets games pretty much every console, and gets a lot of attention, is really loved. But Kid Icarus is not in that category, not even the same category as Metroid, which is very interesting. I think only one other new game has been released for it. It was on the 3DS. And it's got some other attention with like Smash Bros and stuff like that, but not. And then it got a cameo in the Mario movie as well, which is kind of crazy. But I decided to go back and because of that Jurassic Park collection and Mega Game Review, which you want to just check out that review. Of course, the NES version was on that. I also had the NES version. I was like, I don't need two copies of this game. I'm going to take the NES version back to a local game store, see what they're going to give me for it. And they gave me $14 in store credit for it, which was like, damn. And I also had a $5 coupon from that place, so I was like, oh. And then I saw Kid Icarus on their NES section. I was like, oh, I'll get Kid Icarus. Only like $12 after tax. Not bad at all. So that's why we're doing this today. I got a lot of thoughts on this game. Let's just jump right into it, shall we? The levels in this game. So I had a little bit of, unlike a lot of the games that I've reviewed, I did have a little bit of prior experience before playing the actual game, because Kid Icarus is on the NES Nintendo World Championships thing that I got on Switch. So I played a little bit of that already, but I wanted to see how it felt with the NES controller. So I knew about, like, you can go across from one end of the level to one end of the map, the screen. I mean, one part of the screen to the other, and then you can move around, and it gets cool level designs like that. I liked it. It was kind of cool. It was a little annoying though. It was sometimes like trying to shoot enemies because they were like camping right on where you needed to go, because when you crossed over, and you can't shoot them because your range is really limited and it doesn't let you shoot from one end, like through the portal thing. So you had to pretty much take damage or like try and bait them out and go to a different way, which was really hard because the enemies in this game have like their own mind of their own when it comes to pattern and everything like that. So, but I thought it was cool. The levels, though, I mean, there's only, I think, there's four levels, and they are gauntlets. They are absolute fucking gauntlets. Especially with the fact that there are no checkpoints. If you die, you go all the way back to the beginning of the level. Not the first level, the level that you're currently on. But that's a fucking gauntlet. Especially with all the enemies that are in these levels. There's a ton of them. They just spam shit enemies at you. There's like these witch enemies that just unleash an army of ghosts that are impossible to shoot. There's other flying enemies that look like they come straight out of Terraria. There's little blue Yoshis that just they just drop a million of them at a time, and so they come in packs. There's ones that turn you into eggplants. And then there's bosses as well, which, I mean, with, like, the fucking final boss and, the fucking Medusa level shit, it's just all over the place. It is kind of funny, though, in the levels, like, because there's a lot of, like, rooms that you can go in during the level. You can, like, buy items from the shop, or sometimes it's, like, a mystery room where you can try and get a mystery item, or you just fight some enemies, maybe to gain hearts, or just, to get a break. But then if you there's like a bunch of enemies around, you can then enter a room and then exit the room, and the enemies will be gone, which I thought was really funny. Catch is, the only way to get health in this game is to you drink wine, which is really weird because it's literally called Kid Icarus, and it's Nintendo, who, obviously advertises a lot to children. It's pretty weird that their health regeneration thing was a glass of wine. It's kind of cool, honestly. There's very few of them. They are pretty spread out, and if you go in a door and exit, the wine disappears. So I guess that's the trade-off. You lose the enemies that would have killed you, but you also lose the health that you could use then later down the line. So you gotta try and get the wine and then get in the door really fast, and then go back out. And yeah, these levels are just gauntlets of patience, because not only is there a ton of enemies to navigate, the levels themselves, a lot of very differentiation when it comes to platforming, navigation, all that sort of stuff. Like the first level's a vertical level, so if you fall down past where the screen is, even if there's just a platform there, you die. I don't know why the fuck they decided that was a good thing to do. Thankfully, there's no continues or any lives or anything like that. Then there's another level where you're flying, but there's another one where it's you have to navigate with a map, but it's super annoying because you have to buy the thing in order to get the map to work, which is really fucking weird and really fucking tedious, and it's really fucking stupid. But then there's also other kinds of levels where you got some ice you gotta navigate. There's all this sort of stuff. So it can take a while to navigate these levels, even if you don't die a bunch, just because of how much there is to do. And with the doors and stuff, exploring too, because you want to get the hearts. The hearts are not for health, by the way. They're for currency. Here's my heart. Give me some milk, please. What the fuck? You couldn't have just made it cool ancient coins or whatever currency was being used in the ancient times? No, we just gotta rip the hearts out and use that as exchange. Is that what they were doing back then? Probably. I don't know. But yeah, the designs for these levels are all over the place. And it can get pretty crazy. Especially because the longer you go, the longer the levels get, the harder they get. The game's very difficult all throughout. I think I am going to put this entire game as an honorable mention on my hardest video game levels list. I wouldn't consider it worthy of the top of the list, but I think it is definitely worthy of an honorable mention. But that's mostly also not just because of the level itself, but it's old. The controllers are old. The console's old. So maybe when it was newer, it worked better. With kind of some of the jumping and whatnot. I thought the game ran fine. It still overall I think works pretty well. But maybe it's just that. I don't know. Maybe that is how the game always has been, or not. But and then also, I mean, another one where it's oh, I thought his name was Icarus, but no, it's Pit. Where's my Pit amiibo? Forgot about that. Where is it? I should have grabbed it. Oh, right here. Here he is. I would have never, all my years of playing Smash Bros, I would have never thought this guy would come from Kid Icarus. But here he is. And then I was oh, it's Icarus. No, it's Pit. I don't know why I can never really associate that. Maybe it's just because I only ever, first time and really the only time I've ever experienced this before this game was Smash Bros. But, so there he is. In the game, he doesn't have the blue ice to put him up like that. So, disappointment, I guess. This game is good, though, I gotta say. Final thoughts. This game is pretty good. It's difficult, but but it definitely is a classic. A lot of people maybe don't think it's a classic. I think it's a classic. I would consider it as that. I thought the music was pretty good. But the levels are fucking difficult. Like it's definitely not it's definitely a game that tests your patience. And so you got to be ready for that. But if you're looking to try it, I think it's worth your time, especially if you can find a copy of the game for a pretty decent price. And I'm not like hankering for another Kid Icarus game. I know there is another one that I might get my hands on at some point. I don't know. On 3DS, we'll see. But if not, who knows? So my final score for Kid Icarus, I'm gonna give it a good 6.5. We'll give it a 6.5. That's about as best as I can do. So that's going to do it, though, for this review. If you've ever played Kid Icarus, let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And that's going to do it for this video as well. Stay tuned for much more amazing content, including more video game reviews and other awesome stuff. And until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.